Who's better, Mike Pence or Donald Trump? I'm Nathan Seelove, and this is Factually Biased. Some recent reports have come out that indicate that Donald Trump might actually be considering dropping Mike Pence from the 2020 ticket. Now, I have no doubt that Donald Trump has probably talked about this with some of his campaign advisors, but I highly doubt that he's actually going to do it. Now, I wouldn't put money down on that, but I don't think that that's ultimately what's going to happen. And this is happening at around the same time that there's been a lot more speculation that the Mueller investigation is going to be coming to a close soon. Now, the Mueller investigation has kind of been this liberal dream that he will swoop in and save us all from Donald Trump, and I don't know what the outcome of the Mueller investigation is going to be. None of us do. And I will say, I don't want him to come out and reveal that our president has actually been a traitor the entire time. I don't want that to be the result. But if it is, then we should be prepared to deal with it. However, what I think a lot of liberals are not thinking of is the fact that if Donald Trump is removed from office, then Mike Pence becomes the president. Now, it's fair to forget about that because he seems to not be doing much during this entire presidency. Mike Pence has kind of come out for games every now and then retreated back into the dark abyss. But he still holds a very important position, and he is still one heartbeat away from the presidency. So I think it's a good time to discuss what that might look like. Now, obviously, this is over speculation. I'm not saying that I think that Donald Trump is going to get impeached or removed from office or resign, and that Mike Pence is going to become the next president. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm talking about is primarily which one of them would actually make a better president. So let me first talk about this from a conservative point of view. So let's pretend that I'm a Republican, which I'm definitely not. I don't even play one on TV. But if I were a Republican, I would actually say that Mike Pence would be much more preferable in order to actually implement the policies that I would prefer. Now, look at Donald Trump's record so far. The only major legislative achievement that he's been able to enact is the tax cut, which if I were someone that loved tax cuts for the rich, then I would be fangirling all over that. But if we're talking about just legislation, that's pretty much it. Now, he has accomplished a lot of things through executive action, but as we learned from the Obama administration, if you govern primarily through executive action, the next president can just hit Control Z on everything that you did, which is likely also going to happen with the next president, or at least the next Democratic president, for every policy that Donald Trump has implemented through executive action. Now, you can also talk about the 2 Supreme Court justices that Donald Trump was able to put on the court. And if I were a conservative, then that would be something that would very much excite me. However, that's something that any Republican president could very easily do. And in fact, at least with the process of confirming Brett Kavanaugh, the entire process was pretty long and difficult, mainly because his choice ended up being a very problematic character, and he almost did not get confirmed. And I think that someone like Mike Pence would be a lot more likely to choose a person who, yes, is very conservative, but they would be a little bit more careful about vetting them. So on a domestic level, Donald Trump has really not been able to do a lot of conservative changes to our overall governmental structure. Mike Pence, on the other hand, he has more political experience. He was governor, he has executive experience, and he has the ability to negotiate, and he also has a better understanding of policy in general. Recently, there was that Rex Tillerson interview where Tillerson basically said that Donald Trump doesn't read and doesn't understand the laws. That's his Secretary of State saying that. That's not some partisan Democrat, that is his Secretary of State, former Secretary of State saying that. So if I were a Republican, I would absolutely say I want Mike Pence over Donald Trump because I would want more conservative policies to be implemented. Now, let's talk about it from a leftist point of view. Like I said, Mike Pence would probably be more destructive to a leftist agenda on a domestic level because he has a better understanding of policy. He has a better understanding of what he could actually do. However, we also need to look at international policy. And what Donald Trump has done on the international stage has been deeply problematic. He has broken deals. He has insulted our allies. He was literally laughed at by the entire world. And he has sabotaged the rest of the world's view of the United States. Now, Mike Pence, as I said, has more experience with understanding policy, and he has more experience with negotiation. And I think that he would be a lot more diplomatic to our allies and a lot more of a appealing character to our allies. So I'm not saying that he would be star-spangled awesomeness of representing the United States to the rest of the world, but he would be significantly better than Donald Trump. So my final argument would be that when it comes to domestic policy, I think Mike Pence would be worse. But when it comes to international policy and international relations, I think Mike Pence would be exponentially better. So where should the priorities lie? Well, now that the Democrats have taken control of the House of Representatives, I would actually say that a lot of the fears of Mike Pence getting some of his conservative policies implemented are somewhat alleviated. Now, he would definitely have more negotiating ability as president, but we still have a Democratic House of Representatives that would be able to block some of his worst desires. So ultimately, I would actually say that Mike Pence would be a better president for both liberals and conservatives than Donald Trump. What do you think? Send me your thoughts. That's all I got time for you today. So if you liked this video, give it a like, a share, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, check out some of my other content, and I will see you next week.